For 12 years, Ambassador Elena Vasquez had sat in the Galactic Council chambers, enduring insults, threats, and condescension with the practiced diplomatic smile that had become her trademark. The other species had grown comfortable with humanity's apparent passivity, mistaking patience for weakness, restraint for inability. They had been making a critical error. High Chancellor Zekthran of the Hegemony leaned forward in his ceremonial armor, his words dripping with disdain. The humans request aid for their colony worlds again. Perhaps if your species hadn't foolishly settled on marginal planets, you wouldn't require constant assistance. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The crystalline Vorthak delegates chimed their approval, while the gaseous Etherians pulsed with what passed for amusement among their kind. Elena's smile never wavered. We appreciate the Council's consideration of our request for medical supplies. The plague on Kepler 7 has affected over 2 million civilians. Civilians who chose to live on a death world, interjected Trade Minister Velkar. Surely natural selection should be allowed to take its course. The chamber erupted in what could generously be called laughter. Elena made a note on her data pad, her expression unchanged. This had been the pattern for over a decade. Humanity would make reasonable requests, offer fair trade agreements, propose sensible solutions to galactic problems. The other species would respond with mockery, exploitation, or outright refusal. And humanity would smile, nod, and try again. The breaking point came during the discussion of mining rights in the Tau Ceti system. The Hegemony claims exclusive extraction rights to all 17 planets, Chancellor Zekthran announced. The pathetic human outposts there will be relocated to make room for proper civilization. Elena looked up from her data pad. I'm sorry, Chancellor, but there are 400,000 human civilians living in that system. They've been there for 30 years. Then they should have chosen a less valuable location. Belkar sneered. Perhaps your species will learn better judgment from this experience. For the first time in 12 years, Elena's smile faded. The change was subtle, a slight tightening around her eyes, a barely perceptible shift in posture. But something fundamental had shifted in the diplomatic atmosphere of the chamber. I see, Elena said quietly. She stood, gathering her materials with deliberate care. In that case, I believe our business here is concluded. Running away again, human? Zekthran called mockingly. How typical of your weak species. Elena paused at the chamber's exit. When she turned back, her expression was perfectly neutral, and somehow more terrifying than any threat. Chancellor, I've spent 12 years in this chamber, listening to your insults, your threats, your casual dismissal of human life and dignity. I've endured this because my species values patience, diplomacy, and the hope that reason might eventually prevail. Her voice remained conversational, but something in her tone made the ambient chatter die away. But you've made a fundamental miscalculation. You've mistaken our restraint for inability, our patience for weakness, our desire for peace for fear of war. She activated her data pad, and holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber, tactical readouts, fleet positions, industrial capacity reports. For 12 years, while you've been insulting us, we've been preparing. Earth's industrial output has increased by 400%. Our fleet construction has expanded across 40 systems. Our technology has advanced in ways that would concern you. The displays showed human ships, not the small, crude vessels the Council remembered, but sleek, powerful warships in numbers that made the assembled delegates shift uncomfortably. But more importantly, Elena continued, we've been watching, learning, recording every slight, every threat, every act of casual cruelty toward human civilians. She gestured to another display showing detailed intelligence files on every major galactic power, their military capabilities, economic vulnerabilities, political pressure points. The Hegemony's Third Fleet is currently refueling at Vega Station. The Vordak trading network depends on exactly 17 critical hyperspace nodes. The Etherian gas mines on Rigel 4 represent 60% of their species' energy production. The chamber had fallen completely silent. We know where your children go to school. We know which colonies can't survive without constant supply shipments. We know which leaders can be replaced, which systems can be isolated, which economies can be collapsed with a carefully placed disruption. Elena's smile returned, but it was nothing like the diplomatic expression she had worn for 12 years. You have 72 standard hours to evacuate the hegemony forces from Tau Ceti. Medical supplies for Kepler 7 will be delivered within the week, and the Council will formally apologize for 12 years of treatment that we have now decided to stop tolerating. You dare threaten the entire galaxy? Zekthran roared, rising to his full intimidating height. Not threaten, Chancellor. Inform. Elena's voice remained perfectly calm. Humanity's patience has been our gift to this galaxy. We've absorbed your insults, endured your exploitation, and maintained peace through our restraint. She paused at the chamber's exit one final time. But patience, like all gifts, can be withdrawn. And you're about to discover what happens when a species that conquered its own death world decides that diplomacy has outlived its usefulness. The chamber doors closed behind her with a soft hiss. Within 71 hours, every demand had been met. The galaxy had finally learned the difference between inability and unwillingness, between weakness and restraint, between a species that couldn't fight and one that simply preferred not to. Humanity's age of patience was over. The age of consequences had begun.